Welcome. It's your man God of Docs back with another episode of the Audible. Hope everybody's had a very good day. Hope you are in good health and in good spirits. I know that I am. We're gonna continue breaking down the AFC North. Focus tonight is going to be on the Baltimore Ravens. Before we kind of get into that, I want to get into some NFL news that's come across the wire. We may be talking about it a little bit more on Friday as the story develops. If you've been paying attention to the Indianapolis Colts situations, in particular with star running back Jonathan Taylor, the team has now given his agent permission to seek a trade. We'll talk about it more in detail on Friday, but apparently, after saying that the running back position wasn't as valuable as it was, now they're trying to get a first round pick. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. We'll talk about more about that on Fridays. Is some of the teams that have kind of come out and maybe express slight interest, maybe possible fits for Jonathan Taylor. But we'll talk about that more on Friday. Um, as always, remember to like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, all that good stuff. I'm still working on the Twitter stuff, still trying to figure that out. I want to incorporate more stuff into, I guess, the social media experience that this is. But yeah. Well, let's get back to it. Yesterday we focused in on the Cleveland Browns. I think I did a very good job of making a compelling case for Cleveland being a much improved team record-wise than they were last year. And the same can be said for tonight's team. Like I said, we're focusing on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, when you ask most pundits, you ask most people that follow the world of the NFL, most people will probably pick, and I'm one of those most people, will probably pick the Cincinnati Bengals as being the leader of this division, king of the jungle of this division. But you also have those that are out there, and it's not as small a minority as you may think, that believe that the Baltimore Ravens, with some of the additions and changes that they made this offseason, are in prime position to not only take this division, but possibly move into that upper echelon of tier teams when we're talking about Super Bowl or bust. When we're breaking them down, as we do with each and every team that we break down, we always start with the quarterback position. And outside of Aaron Rodgers, this all season, no attention was paid. No more attention was paid to any other player at the quarterback position than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson a whole contract debacle, a whole contract situation that kind of played out at the earlier part of the summer before the draft. Finally got resolved. He ended up getting his money. Congratulations to that man for getting his money. I'm not going to begrudge him. You earned it. You play for it. And as a quarterback in this league, try to pay the man close to what the market value is. So I'm happy for him getting his contract. Congratulations to him for doing it big. And with the contract comes new expectations. But I think Lamar has a skill level, has the talent level to live up to it. It's not too long ago, 2 or 3 seasons ago, this guy was the NFL MVP. And I still think he has that in his game. Now, last year, injuries and the contract situation kind of derailed the season for him. I don't care what he says. The contract situation had an impact on him, because I think if he'd got paid when he thought he was going to get paid and when he thought he was going to get paid, I think he would have gutted it out last season. Baltimore would have been in the playoffs. But hey, I don't begrudge that, man. At the end of the day, the NFL is a business. It is a business, and that doesn't go over my head. And hopefully these players understand that it doesn't go over their head. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices for yourself, for your long-term future, because trust me, the owners, the GMs, they're going to make the best decisions for them and their organizations. How you feel about it, be damned. So glad he got his money, but we're going to talk about his play on the field, and I think his play on the field is going to be very much improved. The supporting cast has improved. There's a lot of changes being made on the offensive side of the ball, and we're going to talk about both sides of the ball. But when you start, just at a quick glance, you're in a team that has Lamar Jackson, arguably one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this league. When we're talking about impact on the game, the ability to throw the ball, and being the dual threat that he is, you're going to be in the hunt. You're going to be in the conversation. Now, I did my tiers a couple of weeks ago. If you missed it, go check it out. If you agree, disagree, leave comments, whatever. But I had Baltimore on my second tier. But when I say on my second tier, I'm talking about my first tier was Buffalo. My first tier was KC, and my first tier was Cincinnati. Baltimore, you know, is when I say second tier, and I'm talking about they're at the door, 1 foot in. I think they're just a little bit lower than those. So those teams, if I could say they're a 10, Baltimore is a 9.5. I mean, they're that good that they can be that competitive with any team in this conference, any team in this league. And it starts and ends with Lamar Jackson. Like, it's teams have to come into each week playing the Baltimore Ravens, learning how to game plan them, and what teams have had success with as far as game plan and learning. Hey, Baltimore is a running team. The coach is very focused on having a run heavy attack. They have a very unique scheme when we're talking about running the ball. More often than not, Lamar hasn't had the talent on the outside. Now we're going to talk about one of his primary receivers over the past couple of years, Mark Andrews, but we're going to kind of get into that when we're talking about the receiving group. Lamar hasn't had too many big value targets on the outside guys that you can say, hey, he's the clear number one. I will go out and say this very strongly. Lamar has never played with a number one receiver. Now he's played with some very good number twos. Hollywood Brown was one of them. I think Rashard Bateman was another. You could put Duvernay as a pretty good number two. But they went out and made some changes to improve this offense, make this offense more multidimensional. And I think with the additions that they made on the outside, it's going to help Lamar's game blossom. Like, hey, we've seen this guy play at an MVP level most seasons. When he's healthy and when he's right, he's in the conversation. Because he's that dynamic of a player. I think this year he's going to come out and be on gangbusters. I think Lamar's going to come out with a renewed motivation, with a point to prove that, hey, you got some people out here who didn't think I was going to be getting my money, didn't think I deserved the contract that I got. I think he's going to come out very highly motivated to play this year. And, when you look at the team that's around him, especially on the offensive side of the ball, it's a lot to like. When we're talking about Lamar, of course, he's a big part of the running game. But you look at the running back group that they have when healthy. We're talking about J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. I like Justice Hill when he was coming out of USC. Injuries kind of messed up his career. But they got a decent enough running back room because, Lamar draws so much attention to him that makes the read option such a big thing. You saw the read option when you have that dual threat kind of a quarterback who can throw the ball in certain spots, but is also known for running, i.e., Jalen Hurts. You saw how successful Philadelphia was when they went to kind of like that read option type of an offense. And Baltimore's been running that offense for years. The whole problem was, it wasn't much to read. We knew you guys were running the ball because you really wasn't a throwing team. But he has good enough running backs behind him. I think pretty much you can plug and play on just about any running back. It doesn't have to be a special running back. Just as long as you're not coughing up the ball. They do have a running back by committee, so it's not unusual to see J.K. Dobbins be the primary rusher because he is the starter. But it's not unusual to see Gus Edwards have pretty big games, pretty big moments. Justice Hills, when he's healthy, is known to be a kind of a game breaker. So I like the running back room for what it is. On any other team, I would say you might want to look for some improvement in the running back room, but with the style of offense that they play, when you have Lamar Jackson as your quarterback, who in essence you can include in that running back discussion, it's okay. It's okay. Now the big changes they made, they finally went out and got some weapons for Lamar. About goddamn time. You want to be a number one quarterback in this league, you got to go get you guys some guys to throw it to. And nothing, against the guys that they had already in house with Rashard Bateman, Devin Duvernay. You needed to go get an alpha type personality at the wide receiver position. And they ended up bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. Now we haven't seen Odell in roughly a year. Didn't play last season. There was a lot of flirtation with him, possibly going to Dallas, possibly going to this team, possibly returning to the Rams. Ends up signing with the Baltimore Ravens for a nice piece of change, kind of on a prove it type deal. This guy is still coming off 2 ACLs. We kind of curious, his returns have looked positive. From what you've seen from camp so far, he looked like he's in shape, look like he's healthy, look like he's ready to go. Odell Beckham still has the skill set to be a number one receiver. Now, do I think Odell is going to be a dominant number one, i.e., a Justin Jefferson? No, I think the time has passed. I think injuries have kind of sapped that away. But I think Odell can be a number one receiver with this offense because it's not really a pass heavy offense. He's going to be asked to come up with some of the tough catches. Odell is very good at route running. We do already know he has great hands, and he's not going to be asked to be the speed guy. When we're talking about the speed guy, they ended up drafting Zay Flowers, who I like coming out of college. Thought it was a very good pickup for him, considering where they were at in the draft. You needed to go get Lamar some weapons. You needed to spend, some credible draft capital. And they spent a little draft capital, but nothing too serious. I like bringing in Zay Flowers as more of that take the top off type receiver. Rashard Bateman is known for his speed also. A guy you got to kind of keep an eye out for with this offense, I think, is going to be. He's not going to put up big numbers, but I think he's in a mindset of trying to prove something, trying to rebuild his reputation around the league, and that's Nelson Aguilar, former first round pick, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles, has kind of moved around. How you doing, beautiful? Yeah, it's just me over here, beautiful. Men lie, women lie. Yeah, it's just me over here. But hey, this the quiet space, this the corporate space. We growing over here. But yeah, Nelson Aguilar is a player that I'm looking at kind of closely this season when I'm watching the Baltimore Ravens. Is he going to be able to kind of rehab his image in the league? He's kind of on a prove it type contract. I like the wide receiver room, and when we're talking about the wide receiver room, a lot of times we focus in on the wide receivers, but with this group, you got to include the tight ends. Have two of the better tight end combos than that's in the league. Mark Andrews is clearly one of the top. I'm not going to say he's over Travis Kelce, but Mark Andrews is clearly in the conversation, easily top five, one of the top five tight ends in this league. Very good in the passing game, knows how to get into the spots, has built the rapport with Lamar Jackson, knows where to be. And I do like the backup. I do like Isaiah Likely when they do run the big sets, when they do run the two tight end sets. I do like Isaiah Likely. Very good hands for his size, has improved as a run blocker. Like I said, it's a lot of guys for Lamar to throw to. I think he's going to be very happy with the receiving group that he has out there. And then when you look at the offensive line, one of the things I like to talk about, you have to be good in the trenches. When we're talking about the trenches, we're talking about the offensive and defensive lines. Baltimore has one of the better offensive lines when healthy. Keyword there, when healthy. I do think they can do a little bit better of a job at the left guard position. Nothing against Ben Cleveland. I mean, he's an okay player. But eventually you might want to look for an upgrade at that position. But you gotta like the tackles. I like Ronnie Stanley. I like Tim coming out of college. Morgan Moses is okay as a right tackle. Kevin Zeitler is okay as a guard. Center is okay. This is one of the better offensive lines, not only in the division but in the conference. And I think with the style of play that they run, these guys are not really asked to do a whole lot of pass protection because this is such a run-heavy attack that allows these guys, to offensive linemen, trust me, as a guy who's played sports, offensive linemen, nothing against pass protection, but they love to run block because it allows them to get out there. It's fine. He's like the quiet space. Yes, it's the quiet space. But it allows them, when they're run blocking, it allows them to get out there and be on the attacking the defensive lineman, attacking the defensive end, getting up into the second level, getting at the linebackers and safeties down in the box. That's what an offensive lineman lives for. And with the scheme that Baltimore has, it allows these guys to focus in on that strength. Now, if you're asking these guys to hold up for a long time in pass protection, I'm not sure about that. When it comes to pass pro, I think this, their skill set is more of, to me, middle of the road. I mean, but it helps when you have a guy, in the backfield that, hey, when it breaks down, he can kind of get out and create, when the offensive line breaks down the pass pro. So But like I said, I like the offensive line. And another unknown piece. And typically I don't talk about this position, but when you have one of the best fullbacks, and Patrick Ricard, who's you can also include into that running back room. We're talking about short yardage situations, very good as a pass blocker, very good receiving fullback. You got to include him. Like I said, I like the talent that they have on the offensive side of the ball. Now, defense is some question marks. It's some things we got to kind of talk about. I mean, it's some strengths in some spots, and some other spots is kind of iffy, kind of iffy, kind of iffy. Let's go ahead and break down the defense. We're going to start with the defensive line. Now, Calais Campbell did move on. Calais Campbell did move on. He's no longer with the team. Even though he was a veteran player, still one of the better defensive tackles in the league as far as run defense and creating somewhat of a pass rush. I like Michael Pierce. Michael Pierce is more of a run stuffer for me. You're gonna need one of these guys on the inside to kind of step up with him, and hopefully create some kind of a pass rush. But Baltimore is such a blitzing team. You don't really need too much. You just need guys, to kind of hold up. A lot of those linebackers, those very athletic linebackers. We're going to talk about them in just a second. But you just need some guys to kind of hold up, um, and occupy some bodies. And the pass rush for this team doesn't necessarily come from the defensive line as much as it would other teams, because this is such an aggressive team. They blitz from the corner, they blitz from the safeties, linebackers are blitzing. Baltimore is one of them teams that is not going to just sit back and play a shell cover 2 or play a shell cover 3. This is a team, a defensive mindset, and this has been a defensive mindset for as long as I can remember with the Baltimore Ravens. We will attack, we will fly to the ball, we will tackle. We are an aggressive defense. Sometimes that gets them in trouble when they're playing some of the top echelon quarterbacks, i.e. a Patrick Mahomes, a Joe Burrow. But this is an attacking style defense. I do like the guys that got on the edge. I do like I can't even say the dude's name, Oweh, and I do like David Ajobo. Also into that rotation as a pass rusher on the outside. Like I said, a lot of the pass rush this team has comes from the linebacker positions, and you have some very good linebackers when we're talking about being guys that can pass rush. And I like a couple of pieces that they brought in. We're going to start with the middle linebacker, Roquan Smith, who they traded for mid-season last year. Very, very, very one of the best. If you watch football, Roquan Smith, formerly of the Chicago Bears, is one of the best, one of the best middle linebackers at his position. Is able to cover the field sideline to sideline. But I do like the guy that they drafted, Trenton Simpson. Very much in the same model as a Roquan Smith, not as big physically, as a little bit on the smaller side, but is more is still a sideline to sideline player. Has tremendous, one of the best 40s at the linebacker position coming out of the draft. Very, 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 very quick off the ball. I'm expecting him to be part of that pass rush rotation. You may see him move towards the outside in certain situations and certain packages to take advantage of the speed that he has at his position. I do like Patrick Queen at the other linebacker position. Tyus Bowser is, still effective as a pass rusher, but eventually going to have to get an upgrade at that position. Tyus Bowser currently is, penciled in as the starter. I mean, if I can get Trenton Simpson, to kind of get him, I'm not sure where he's at in camp as far as his progression, as far as like learning his defense, but I can see him sliding over into that outside linebacker position and being a pass rusher in this scheme. Do have some, pretty decent backups at the linebacker position, but it begins and ends with Roquan Smith. He elevates the linebacker room. Like I said, the defensive line for this team is more of, soaking up bodies, not necessarily being tasked with creating the pass rush. For this team, linebacker positions, like I said, Baltimore's always been aggressive. Since the days of Ray Lewis, Baltimore has always been an aggressive defense as far as flying to the ball, hitting. Like I said, a lot of the blitzes they run come from the linebacker position, but also come from the secondary position. And when we're talking about the secondary position, it's a lot to like at some spots. in that secretary. I think Marlon Humphrey, to me, had a down year. I mean, to me, had a down year considering his talent level. I thought he gambled a little bit too much, but still one of the best cover corners. When he's focusing and playing at his elite level, one of the best cover corners in this league. Um, Rock Yassin, I mean, he's been a pretty good player, and I know formerly of the Indianapolis Colts is a pretty good player. But you can pick on him. Um, you can pick on him when we're talking about attacking this secondary. He's one of the guys I would definitely. I'm not, and it's not a knock on his skill. I think he's a very decent number two, but he can be had in a lot of situations. He's not necessarily the biggest type cornerback, but he can be had, but he's decent enough, and with the blitzes and the pressure that this team known to put, you don't have to hold up in coverage too long. I think when Baltimore gets in trouble when they're playing some of these elite teams, elite offenses, is just they can't create a pass rush, and you're asking your secondary to cover for way too long, way too long. Marlon Humphrey is capable of doing it for long stretches of the game. Rock Yassin, spotty at best when having to be tasked with holding up when you have no pass rush and being able to create quote unquote coverage sacks because you're locking the guy down. He just ain't it. I'm just gonna be frank with you. The rest of the cornerback room, this is okay. Some young guys, some improved guys, some guys I ain't gonna lie to you, I don't even know who these guys are. I mean, but Baltimore knows how to coach them up. Baltimore is always had a very well coached team, so I think those guys get coached up. I do like the safety combo. It is some gripes. Kyle Hamilton, very physically gifted, strong safety, still kind of learning the game. You'll see him in some of the big sub linebacker packages that they run in Baltimore. I do like him. I do like Marcus Williams, formerly of the New Orleans Saints from back in the day. I do like him as the free safety, has become a very, very good signal caller on the back end of a defense. It's a lot to like with this team. It's a lot to like with this team. Let me see who. Oh, y'all just flew in. All right, all right, all right, all right. Miss Murray, how you doing? Dr. Nikki, how you doing? Yeah, we in the quiet place tonight. Yeah, quiet place tonight. We just gonna kind of keep it like that. Tomorrow I will not be live. Got some things to do as far as fundraising activities. Um, some community type stuff. So I will be doing that tomorrow. But we'll be back on Thursday. I think I've already got the live set up. So we'll be back Thursday. We'll be back Friday. Friday may be a bit of an earlier show. Might mix in some freestyle with the Friday show. Might mix in some freestyle with the Friday show. No. Y'all know what else I do on Friday. So I already got that show kind of worked up over there. But yeah. So overall, Baltimore, I do have Baltimore making it as a playoff team. I think they're firmly, for me, as of right now, see what kind of injuries kind of happen throughout the season. Baltimore, to me, is still in that tier 2 of teams in the AFC, but that's not a knock on them. Like I said, if my top tier are 10s, Baltimore is a 9.5. You can make an argument for Baltimore being the better team in the division. And you could. I mean, if we was going to kind of do position by position, I think Joe Burrow's a better quarterback than Lamar, but I think Lamar is just a different, it's kind of hard to put Lamar in the same kind of category with a Joe Burrow. I like what I've seen from Joe Burrow. We'll kind of talk about them when we get to the Cincinnati Bengals. Running back rooms are kind of similar. Wide receiver groups, I got to lean Cincinnati. Offensive line, I got to lean Baltimore. Defensive line, I got to lean Cincinnati. Linebackers, I got to lean Baltimore. Secondary, kind of a toss-up. So, like I said, even though I have Cincinnati, and I'm still sticking with Cincinnati as my pick, I'm still sticking with Cincinnati as my pick as winner of the division. I think it's going to be very close. I think it comes down to the final 2 or 3 weeks of the season before we, have a clear, defined division winner. I thought Baltimore, if they'd had a healthy and focus Lamar Jackson last year. The division, they could have took the division last year. They could have took the division last year. It wasn't like Cincinnati was a dominant team. Cincinnati defense got hot on the back end of the season and played real good football along, to come along with that offense. But I got Baltimore being in the playoffs. Now, could I see um could can I see and I'm gonna answer your question in just a second, beautiful. Can I see Baltimore making a run to the Super Bowl? I could. I think if Lamar is motivated as I think he's going to be this season, as far as like showing the league, what he's really capable of, and that's a scary thought when this guy's already won an MVP. Yeah, I could see Baltimore making a Super Bowl run. Like it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't be too far off the map. But to answer your question, beautiful, are you still going to do the Bill series? I love those lives, but don't do it on the Pastor channel. Too much going on over there. Um, you know what, beautiful? I may. I was thinking, because my day one's over, so I talk a little bit more freely as far as like game plan and stuff like that. Now I do plan on doing more of the build series. I may even um I already got like another backup channel. You got to keep one in the clip around here. But I may as far as the build series, I may still do them initially on the Pastor channel, but with that channel, I'm trying to eventually, and I'm just gonna say this eventually, I'm trying to transition it to be more of that type of content. Like, don't get me wrong, I like having fun on the Fridays, but sometimes it's a struggle with those shows with the build stuff, and I wouldn't necessarily call it. I don't kind of move away from the build, and that was then kind of like just have more like like grown folks conversations about stuff that's really going on in the really real world. you know so yeah, I'll be doing the pastor thing. It's cool. It's a channel. And I got still have an audience, but I will be transitioning the channel. And it's if you've been kind of keeping up, um if you kind of keeping up with the content, like I used to have quote unquote this show on the old channel, but I just it's part of me diversifying my portfolio, and kind of separating different stuff. So like I said, I already got another spot I'm trying to build up with something else, kind of like a personal interest of mine, like kind of working on some kinks with that. But yeah, I'll be doing some build stuff still on the new channel. I'll be still doing some build stuff on the new channel. Like I said, eventually I'm going to transition that channel to less of the front, less of the Friday stuff and more of the stuff I used to do on like the Sunday. So um be on the lookout for that. The Friday stuff, like I said, it's fun, man, but sometimes it's a struggle. It's a struggle. Like, so I don't want to bring the build here. Like I do that kind of do that a little bit with the Freestyle Fridays. It was a kind of like meld in both of those worlds when I do those. But yeah, I'll be doing more of the build type stuff. I got some ideas and some topics I want to kind of have discussions with. I know if y'all see VP, I want to kind of get together with him and do a show, and along with some other people. I'm not sure who yet, but I want to kind of get together with him, especially, and kind of like talk about living abroad. It's a different. I'm one of those people who've lived abroad before. It's different for us abroad, when you living in a different country than it is in America. Some countries is worse. Some countries it's a different vibe. It's a better vibe. So I don't have his email or nothing. So if y'all see him around, probably might catch him, at the funeral. Jesus Christ. But but yeah, this let him know I'm interested in like getting together with him and doing the show. I really want to kind of pick his brain, and share those kind of experiences. Like I said, grown folks conversations. Like I said, that channel, and Miss Murphy's, has been, privy to some of these conversations I have over here. Yeah, the Bill show is, but I mean, I like doing the Bill stuff. I like doing the Bill. I like having, grown folks conversation and then not turn into total chaos. Sometimes it can be heated and sometimes it can be spirited, but I like having those conversations about real stuff. Um, Real stuff. So yeah, I will be doing some bills soon. It may not be next week. My schedule's kind of tight right now. Because I'm trying to get all this stuff together for this channel. And then like the first week of September, I'll be on break. Brother be on vacation and gotta enjoy life. But when I get back, of course, we're gonna be start cranking up the bill. Like I said, I got a lot of ideas. And a lot of people I like to collaborate and just have conversations with. So yeah, we're gonna get more into that. And like I said, eventually the channel's gonna move away from the Friday-ish stuff for the most part. I don't want it to be, complete chaos, but I do like doing, I'm like y'all, I like doing the bill stuff when it's just, grown people having conversations in the chat on the panel and that kind of stuff. So we will be doing that. Doing that soon. Like I said, it's still some things I gotta do. Still some things I gotta do. Some stuff I got to address before I say, you know what, I'm going back inside. For those that know. But yeah, it's just a couple things I gotta do. A couple things I need to kind of do and clean up before I say, what, I'm done. But anyway, thank y'all for coming out as always. And I see this last part of the show is turning to me, turn into to a bill. Like I said, Friday will be an early show. Like I might mix in some Freestyle Friday stuff with the Friday show over here. And then of course, what I do on Friday. I already got some stuff kind of lined up. About part of the most irritating part is going back and finding people's channels and resubbing and stuff like that. So, like, yeah, that's about the only thing that irritated me about the whole experience was having to resub to people. But yeah, we will be doing some build shows. Like I said, I'm going to transform that channel and kind of once I kind of get some stuff done, then we'll turn into that more of a serious type channel. And y'all know, man, like whoever show up. If not, I'm still get up here, run my mouth and talk and do what I do, because I like to do it. I enjoy doing it, and all that good stuff. So let me kind of get up out of here because these shows don't run this long. I try to keep these under 30 minutes. For the most part, unless it's like the Freestyle Friday stuff. So next week, I will be doing 2-part AFC West, 2-part NFC West, so I can wrap up before the season kind of kicks off. I want to say college football kickoff is the 26th. So this weekend, college football kind of kicks off. So if you're interested in that, we will be covering college football throughout the NFL season. I will just mainly be focusing on like the big top 25 games. So, if you come up here and want to talk about Alcorn State versus Fort Valley, you get no play here. I'm just going to be like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I know other universities, but I don't know nothing about the teams. But we will be doing like some of the big top 25 games, Bama, Georgia, Florida State, Notre Dame, some of the big games coming out through the season. I haven't tried it yet. I will be at some point this weekend. I will be like kind of playing with it because I do want to try to see if I can get the Canelo fight without any interruptions. I do want to put that up on the channel. I did find a way to kind of like you got to do some editing and stuff and effects and sounds and stuff like that. So I'm learning like tricks of the trade to kind of put up that kind of stuff and kind of keep it up. Because it's free views, but for people who don't have the time and energy to pay for those events and want to actually see them, I'm working on So I'll be checking it out this weekend so I can kind of see what that looks like. How can I use that and format it and like, add stuff. This is started as a sports channel. It's transitioned more towards football. Um, but when there's no football, we was doing the basketball content very heavy over here, especially during the playoffs. I will have, like major news. If it's major, then I'm gonna talk about it. But yeah, so yeah, I will be doing that. So let me kind of get up out of here. It's always a pleasure. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Miss Murph, I'm still working on the Twitter stuff. I appreciate you following and sharing my stuff out. It is always, 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 always appreciated. But just remember, we still them boys. We still them boys. All right, so let me get y'all out of here with a phrase that pays around here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.